Hey guys, Corbin here, back with another printable project. We're working on Bumblebee again. This is part 2, um, and I actually more or less finished the transformation with this episode. So you'll notice the car parts look the exact same as before. I've not done any work on that. There's still a few things I need to change on it, but that'll be finishing touches that I'll do once I have everything completely done. That's not related to the car parts or shell. But I've changed a lot with the actual transformation. Um, so I guess we'll get started. The arms actually work in the exact same way as before. Um, there's the motor here, turns the gear, pushes the arms out. That is identical. But I've added the head, basically a very small servo mounts right here, turns this, and it turns the head backwards, or flat, I guess. The legs are completely different now. You'll notice there's no longer a piece that juts out of this 2020 extrusion that attaches to this motor, or this gear. They're now on their own motors. This makes it so I can make them stick out further. Right now, I still only have 180-degree servos. Amazon's been a little slow to ship the 360-degree ones, but for the video purpose, it's fine. So yeah, eventually I'll swap those out once they're delivered in about a week. But yeah, so basically there's just motors. They mount right here now. I'm actually gonna show you this because this part is the main difference from what I had earlier. So you'll notice that the leg kind of shrouds that the 2020 extrusion comes out of are quite a bit longer. I added this support piece here, and then I added, which is actually a separate piece because there's not really a good way to print this, this piece right here that attaches the motors, and then I have some flush-mounted, some holes for flush-mounted M3 screws. So that's basically connects these into one piece. We'll move that back though. So the legs are pushed down. They're each done on their own motor. I could do it with one, but I need the strength of two. And then you'll notice right here, there's two more motors that sit on top of the legs. Sorry about that. They sit on top of the legs, one for each one for each leg, and those turn these gears to then rotate. This is the ankle axis, rotate the entire body up. You'll notice when I show you the actual physical design, this piece is completely different. This is just a example, or really just a test. I'm getting the magnets should be delivered in the next week or two. I think by this weekend. But they should be delivered soon, and the magnet will fit in there. And then this piece, basically this will just be a test to see if the magnets are strong enough. They're pretty big magnets, as you can see. But yeah, one will sit here, one will sit here, and we'll see if it's strong enough to flip the whole transformer up without having it disconnect. And one thing I did, actually, just get rid of that. One thing I did to hold the magnets in place is there's these little holes here, and that'll have threaded inserts in them, and then I'll have screws that come through there, similar to how I did my lightsaber, just to hold the magnet in place because I don't think glue will be strong enough. But yeah, so there's two motors here. They turn these gears forward, which then turns the entire body up. And that is most of the transformations, actually. It's a really simple transformation for Bumblebee, but it's taken a lot of work to design this. I'm using 8mm linear rods, the same thing I use on my 3D printer, for this axis as well as the head. And then I just have little M5 screws that screw into there to hold that tight. But yeah, let me show you where he's at.
All right, so first things first, I now have a tripod, so I'm able to actually show you guys things with two hands. I didn't I just got the tripod, so I didn't record any of the parts being printed for a time lapse. But in future episodes, there will be time lapses just for fun. But yeah, this is what it's looking like. Kind of a chonky mess right now, but this will all be covered up by car parts eventually. So yeah, the electronics are the exact same as before, except I added a 7th connector for the head, because there's 2 in the ankles, 2 in the legs, 2 servos, and then 2 for the arms, so that's 6, and then 7 for the head, and I only had 6 before. Other than that, the electronics are the exact same. I've labeled the connectors, that's just for ease of wiring, and eventually, once I'm done, these wires will actually be clamped down places, but for now, they're kind of just being left as a mess. I'll remove the wires for now so that I can... there we go. Just so it's easier to show you guys what's going on. So yeah, basically, differences from last time. There's now these motors down here. Sorry, this thing's really heavy. But there's these motors down here. They basically just turn and push the legs out. I'll show you guys the transformation in a second. These motors right here are for the ankle, and they just spin this around. There's 8mm linear rods there, just held in place with 2 screws. Same with the head. There's a tiny little servo right there. It's a little close, so it's bending this slightly, but this servo needs to be replaced either way. I'm having an issue where it twitches slightly on startup. Apparently it's a common issue with cheaper servos, so I bought a better one. But yeah, so this turns the head backwards, and that's actually really easy to do by hand just because of how weak the servo is. The rest of these are kind of difficult. But yeah, so the head pops up. You can actually see the head, what it actually looks like now in real life. I think it's pretty good. I have the the toy right here finally. I decided to buy one. It's roughly 5.7 times the X, Y, and Z direction, so it's quite a bit bigger than the little toy. But you can see with the toy, the arms come out first, so we have that done. The legs then extend. They extend quite a bit further, but like I said, we're getting 360-degree servos for here. Right now they're just 180. Head pops up, and then the ankles just fold forward. So yeah, eventually this will look like that. Kind of a far way away, but you can see the head's pretty similar. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. I might change it eventually, especially once I decide to do LEDs in there. But yeah. So let me show you this guy transform real quick. I did it in my living room. It's kind of difficult to do with one person recording because it gets really tall. So I had my roommate record me, and for now I have to hold on to this, but I showed you guys in the CAD part of this. There will be a magnet right here that'll then connect to a magnetic plate. So when this flips up, hopefully it won't tip over. It's getting really heavy though. I don't have a scale that will weigh enough. I have one that only goes up to 1 kilogram, and this is way more than that. Another thing I did since last time is I added 2020 extrusion. I got that cut to the right lengths, so I don't have 3D printed plastic parts for the arms anymore. And the last thing I'll show you guys is the battery pack now sits under here. In the video that I recorded, I hadn't finished this yet, but so you'll see me holding it. But basically all this does is there's just a screw right here that's where the arm servo's attached, and I just have it going all the way through into this back plate, and that just holds it into place. I want it to be removable because obviously I need to charge the batteries. Sorry about that. So I want it to be removable so I can charge the batteries. And I figured this was the easiest way because it's pretty easy to get to these screws here. It's a little too heavy to do it with Velcro. But yeah, so let me show you guys the transformation, and then we'll wrap this video up. So yeah, that's the transformation. It works, surprisingly. Like I said, these need to be 360-degree servos so the legs are pushed out further. Also, I think you saw in the video, this head twitches a little bit. Basically, with these cheaper servos, when you power them on initially, they turn in one direction, about 30 degrees. And right now that's turning forward, so it's pushing the head into this, and it doesn't actually do much, but then it kind of struggles to go back all the way because it's already 30 degrees further ahead than it thinks it is. But I bought a servo that'll replace this, and that won't be an issue. And yeah, so the transformation's pretty much done with this. In the next episode, I plan on having the magnetic base plate done. The legs will shoot out all the way. And I'll make a few more adjustments to the design. I have to slim things down a little bit. Like these pieces stick out a little bit when compared to the car. I'll actually show you a picture of that right now. But basically it just sticks out slightly, and I'll either modify the design for the shell or I'll modify this. Either one can change. I also hope to have the design for the shell done, the car parts done in the next episode. I won't have it printed because that's going to be a lot of printing, and I'm hoping to get this next episode out in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, so that's the plan. Then the plan for the 4th episode is to have the shell printed, everything basically done, but it won't be finished, as in I won't have done sanding, priming, painting, all that stuff yet. But eventually I'll do that and show that off in a final episode. And then hopefully I plan on doing a full tutorial for this. So I'll publish all of the parts on Thingiverse. I haven't done it yet just because it's not finalized. I don't want you guys printing something that's not going to work. But once I have everything done, I'll publish everything on Thingiverse. I'll publish the code. I haven't gone over the code yet just because I figure that's something to go over in the last episode once everything's done, because it's constantly changing and it's also really simple. But yeah, I'll publish code, publish all the parts, and then I plan on doing a full tutorial, basically assuming you have printed all the parts, how to build it. And yeah, that one's going to be a lot of work to make, but hoping to have it done sometime before Christmas. So thanks for watching, guys.